Hello and welcome to round one of predictions for the F1 2026 season. Only me again today, but the predictions that will be done alongside mine are some from my brother and the same from a weighted random number that I spent about 6 hours last night trying to sort out, and spent another 6 hours today trying to sort out this program so it showed the predictions correctly, and also trying to help my brother because he his the program that I sent to him to do his predictions couldn't be. He can download it because he needed to fix Wi-Fi on his laptop. But we're here now, and we can get underway with predictions. It's probably going to be a long one because I like to waffle quite a bit, but I'm going to try and go through them quickly, and I will basically just, for the weighted random number, I am basically going to tell you what it chose for percentage wise, and yeah, just a quick overview of what we think is going to happen this weekend. I say we, probably just me, because as I just said, my brother is not here with me. Typical. Anyway, shall we begin? I'm going first, and first up is Cadillac. Perez and Bottas. I have chosen Bottas. I think I should explain what we're doing. This is qualifying head-to-heads. We do 22, 25, 28, 29 predictions. 22 of which are head-to-heads, both qualifying and the race. Qualifying is first. And then we do 3 predictions each for the podiums. I say podiums, top 3 for qualifying, and then podium in the race. And 1 random prediction that is so out there that if you get it right, you get 5 points. Everything else is 1 point except for the podiums, top 3s, which are 1 point if you get them in the top 3 and 2 points if you get them bang on. So back to the predictions. Qualifying head-to-head, I have chosen Bottas at Cadillac. I don't know, I just think that Bottas left F1 on a better term, on a better note than Perez did. And I don't know, Bottas in Australia kind of seemed to go well for me. Does my brother agree? He did not. He chose Sergio Perez. Reason Perez does not have his Cadillac uniform on in this image is because for whatever reason, whenever you go on to for whatever reason, the images are not completely updated on the F1 website when you go on your phone. When I go on my laptop, it's fine. But the reason I don't use my laptop is because the images are at a different ratio, and so they wouldn't fit in the program. So I use my phone, which for whatever reason does not have an updated image for Perez. It also doesn't have updated images for the constructors. Only Cadillac and Audi for whatever reason. Weighted random number for Cadillac chose Sergio Perez. Interestingly, only gave him a 46.5% chance and ended up choosing him. Interesting. So that's Cadillac. On to then Alpine, where my brother will be going first, and he has chosen Pierre Gasly. Had a good, decent season last year, and I very well see him continuing in that as well. I really should just kind of just skip over it when it's my brother's prediction and just talk about them during mine, because otherwise this is going to be 2 hours for just predictions. Weighted random number chose for Alpine Pierre Gasly with a 71% chance. Quite impressive. One of the biggest percentage swings, I think. Yeah, quite impressive. Do I agree? Yes, I do. It's a triple Gasly. our first triple of the season. And most definitely not the last. So let's see over at Audi if there's going to be another triple. Where's my mouse gone? Where the weighted random number will be going first. And it chose Nico Hülkenberg. 42.6% chance, interestingly. All in talk in the media about Ocon not performing against a Bearman, but Ocon has a better percentage versus his teammate than Hülkenberg does, so maybe Hülkenberg should be getting a little bit of the flack. I think the reason he didn't was obviously because of his podium, and Sauber were at the back last year, so kind of went under the radar a little bit, I think, maybe. Anyway, for my head-to-head, I have gone for Gabby Bortoleto, following the weighted random number for which one got more likely. But Gabby did have an impressive season last year and was consistently it was pretty much half and half beating Nico in qualifying. So let's see if my brother agrees. And he goes with Hülkenberg, agreeing with the weighted random number, leaving me as the odd one out, going for Gabby. Over at Haas, I am going first, and I have chosen Oliver Bearman. Ollie had a good season last year. I think he'll continue that. Didn't have the best of Australia's last year. However, I do think some of that could have been caused by the Haas not being too great at the beginning of the season. And I think he'll have a much better time of it this year around. No weather to play a part in it as well. Does the weighted random number agree? It does. Goes for Oliver Bearman with a 48.4% chance. Does my brother make it a triple? He does. Second triple of the season, and it's for the sophomore driver versus the experienced guy going into his 9th season, maybe 8th because he'd missed a year or two. Maybe it's about 7-ish. Unfortunately, next up is RB, because I made the mistake of putting RB behind Aston, even though Aston finished behind them in the championship last season. This will be corrected for next week's predictions for China. They're just not fixed now because it would have changed the whole predictions, which realistically I could have done, but I already worked on the program a lot, so I just wanted to get these predictions out. Because realistically, practice 1 begins in like 5 hours. Yeah, just under 4.5 hours. So yeah, I want to get this out before practice, ideally. So speaking of, weighted random number is going first for Racing Bulls, and it is chosen Liam Lawson with a almost looked at Aston's. I haven't sorted this the best. 54.3% chance for Liam Lawson. Reasonable. Surprised it's not higher, but I guess rookie numbers, the way I do the rookies, affects it a little bit. My brother is on the in agreement, going Liam as well, and so am I. As I mentioned, Liam is against a rookie teammate in the form of Arvid Lindblad, and so I think Liam will have a good time around Australia, unlike last year where he qualified 20th and crashed in the wall in the rain shower that almost put Oscar out of the race. But yeah, he had a good end to the last season, I'd say. Good middle, definitely. Um, After his drop from Red Bull. And lucky in the sense that he did get dropped from Red Bull at the beginning of the season instead of at the end of the season, like Yuki was. So we can now move on to Aston Martin, where my brother will be going first. Point of note, it looks like Aston are going to be so in the mud that they might not race properly. If this is the case, there will be no points awarded for either Aston Martin head-to-head because that's just not fair. If it was like a double DSQ, then at least there's a performance that I could have done, etc. But if they're just literally not participating, then if they're going around not caring about lap times and performance, then there's no point in doing the head-to-heads. Ideally, this gets sorted. I don't have to keep saying that every time, but who knows? That power unit looks shaky, to say the least of it. But my brother, in case, has gone for Alonso. I am in agreement. I've also gone for Fernando Alonso. I just think that Fernando is going to have a better time if they are able to go at it. Stroll, surprisingly, is smiling in the opening titles. Wouldn't think that would be the case, but it is. So, yeah, onto the weighted random number. Why do I keep saying random? It chose Fernando Alonso with a 71.4% chance. Now that's a impressive percentage chance. Still not the highest. There's one more higher, and it's honestly quite a shock to see which one it is. But to get to that, we need to go to the next team, which is Williams. I'm going first, and I have chosen Alexander Albon. Alex always seems to go well around Australia, doing that long stint in 22 that got him a point in the end. Sainz has also had a good time around here, winning in 24. So, yeah, it's actually quite split between the two. Just hope it doesn't rain because Sainz did crash in the rain last year. But I think he did qualify ahead of Albon. So maybe I'm making a mistake. My brother, where'd the mouse go? My brother does believe I am making a mistake as he has chosen Carlos for the Williams head-to-head. And the weighted random number has chosen Alexander Albon with a 59.6% chance of yeah, I don't know what you would say. 59.6% chance of what? Yeah, I guess just beating him. That's definitely not how these numbers are working, but hey. Well, that's good to know. I think I messed up the probabilities for the weighted random number. Oh well, it should be fine. Like, I've seen its predictions. It doesn't look out of place, so it's just something to make sure that doesn't happen next time out. Speaking of next, Ferrari is up next. I don't like having to say them fourth. My brother is going first, and he has chosen Charles Leclerc. Pretty good in qualifying and pretty good around Australia, getting that pole and win in 2022. Not bad. Weighted random number has chosen with a 72.5% chance Charles Leclerc. This is the highest on the entire grid, which to me is insane. I would have thought it would have been Alonso versus Stroll or Max versus Hadjar, but I suppose Hadjar was beating Lawson quite a bit at the end of last season, so the way that the predictions work does help favour Hadjar a little bit still. And of course, at Ferrari, I have gone for my boy Charles Leclerc. We're winning it all. This is why I've got to say it before practice, because otherwise I am going to completely flip on my predictions once I realise that Ferrari are not going to be quick. I need that delusion still whilst making these predictions. So, on to Red Bull, where the weighted random number goes first, and it chose Max Verstappen with a 56.6% chance. Not as big as I would have thought, but still in Max's favour. At Red Bull, I have also chosen Max Verstappen. I think that even if the car is bad, Max is going to do the best with it and out qualify Hadjar. My brother also believes the same, choosing Max Verstappen as his winner at Red Bull for qualifying. On to the second place team and most people's favourite for this year, Mercedes. I am going first, and I chose George Russell. Kimi coming into his second season, I don't think he'll be there just quite yet, and I think George will be the one taking the stuff at the glory at the beginning part of the season. So it's a easy pick for me. Weighted random number agrees. 66.2% chance in George's favour and chose it. And my brother also chose George, making it a triple Mercedes for a triple George and a triple predictions once again. Why am I doing this? I don't know how to talk apparently. So, last but not least, for qualifying, we move on to the reigning Constructors' Champions, McLaren, where the weighted random number goes first, and it chose Lando Norris with a 66.6% chance. Reasonable, a lot higher than I would have thought, but Oscar did have a massive drought at the end of the season. Didn't beat Lando in qualifying. Apart in the last 5 races, Lando beat Oscar in qualifying 4 out of the 5 times, which is on the level of Max. Max, really. Max is normally better in Max's favour, I guess. My brother, his favourite driver is Lando. But does not back him, and instead backs the home countryman, Oscar Piastri. I agree with my brother. I think that Oscar's going to make a step up this season, and if you watched our full season predictions, you will know that I predicted Oscar for champion. I think he's going to kickstart that campaign by beating his teammate and taking the first bit of glory with a. I'm talking as if it's pole. It's not. We move on to P3 for qualifying, and let me just move the spreadsheet so I can see what the weighted random number gave each driver. My brother in P3 has chosen Charles Leclerc. He's slightly on the Ferrari hype train. Can't blame him. That Ferrari is a rocket ship off the line. Personally, I do think that they are going to not have as big as advantage because I think that all the other teams are going to have found a little bit of something. Maybe not a full thing that allows them to fix it completely, but a little something that makes Ferrari's starts a little less powerful. But we're not talking about the starts, we're talking about qualifying. And for P3, I have gone George Russell. I think Mercedes is going to be up there, but I don't think they're going to be the ones that are the quickest. The weighted random number somewhat agrees, maybe, and has chosen Isaac Hadjar. Is it Isaac or is it Isaac? Isaac's like the English way of saying it, but I'm pretty sure Isaac is the French way of saying it. And seeing as he is French, you probably should be saying it that way. But I don't actually know. I don't think I've heard many people saying it that way recently, so I don't know. Gave Hadjar a 17.3% chance of getting pole position. Higher than Oscar, to be honest, which is a surprise. And has the third highest percentage of the entire grid, which is insane. But who have we all gone for P2? I'm going first, and I have chosen Oscar Piastri. As I said, I think Oscar will kick off with a good start to the season, but it won't quite be pole. That will be someone else. My brother has gone for George Russell in P2, slightly better than me. Then I put him, but he thinks George will just miss out. The weighted random number has chosen Lando Norris with a 21.7% chance of pole position. Two of us going for a McLaren and one of us going for the Mercedes. All of us for the Mercedes power unit. So we think that they're going to have an advantage at the early part of the season at least to get a P2 in qualifying for round 1. My brother, for pole position, has decided with Oscar Piastri. Back in the Oscar hype train, although there doesn't really seem to be much of one recently. Not much on the McLaren hype train. It's all Mercedes hype, which to me doesn't quite make sense, seeing as McLaren turned off the 2025 tap earlier, and so theoretically should have a better car because they spent more time on it, but we'll see. Only 36 hours before we see. The weighted random number does not believe in that hype though, and has chosen a Max Verstappen for pole position, giving him a 38.9% chance. Max only taken one pole in last 5 races, but has taken quite a few poles around Australia in recent seasons as well. And also, Max is quite good at getting pole position when his car is not as good, and so since I've factored in how good the team were that season when I factored in the actual results, it accounts for when you outperform your car. So expect the weighted random number to choose Max quite a bit this season. I, on the other hand, have gone logically with Charles Leclerc. It's on. It's our year. Of course it is. This is why I need to do them before practice so that I don't lose my hope and decide to change predictions. What can I say? Charles is pretty good at qualifying and pretty good around Australia. So that's our top 3. And we move to the race head-to-head, starting with Cadillac, of course, where the weighted random number has chosen Valtteri Bottas. It gave Bottas... Oh, hold on, that's the wrong part. I was looking at P3s. It gave him a 50% chance. I think this is the first time I've actually seen a proper 50-50. Yeah, 50-50. I, on the other hand, have chosen Valtteri Bottas as well. I think that the Cadillacs will be fighting at the back of the grid. I have just remembered that Bottas does have a penalty, which will initially put him behind Perez, so maybe I should have chose Perez here. Too late now, but we'll see. One thing's almost for certain is that they will be beating Aston Martin, though. My brother has chosen Cadillac Valtteri Bottas as well, going for a triple Bottas, making it a triple. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, there was nothing to add on to that point. Let's move on to Alpine, where I'm going first, and I have chosen Pierre Gasly. I think that Pierre will have a good time in the race. Pierre's had a decent record at Australia, if I remember, and it will be Franco's first time, so I think Gasly will have that edge and will beat him out in the race. The weighted random number agrees, giving the Frenchman a 63.9% chance. My brother has also chosen Pierre Gasly. Triple Gasly at Alpine. As we move on to Audi, where the weighted random number goes first and has chosen Gabi Bortoleto with a 59.0% chance. Reasonable. Gabi has done pretty well against Hulkenberg during his time. See if he can continue that into his second season. My brother thinks so also, going for Gabi Bortoleto to beat out Nico. Do I agree? No, I think Nico will. I think that Nico has a tendency, at least he did last season, to qualify poorly but make it up in the race. For example, his Silverstone podium, where he went from P19 to P3. And a couple other times, like Spain, he was at the back and finished quite highly. I think he did the same in Austria as well. So, yeah, I'm backing Nico to win out at Audi. As we move on to Haas, where my brother will be going first, and has chosen Esteban Ocon. Interesting that he thinks that Ocon will be able to beat Behrman. No, never mind. He also chose Ocon in qualifying. I'm talking rubbish. Let's see what my prediction is. Oliver Behrman. I think that Behrman will have a good weekend. I've already spoken about. This is the annoying part about this, is I've already spoken about it. Spoken about drivers a bit, so it's almost irrelevant going over them again. Oh well. Weighted random number. What did it choose? It chose Esteban Ocon, giving Ocon a 58.6% chance over Behrman. Reasonable. I was also a little bit disappointed with Ocon last season, but I don't know. I kind of thought it wasn't that bad. I feel like people were forgetting about Behrman's mishaps a little bit from the beginning of the season a bit. But I suppose, yeah, Ocon Behrman was almost the driver that gave Haas their first podium in Mexico, so Ocon was nowhere near in Mexico, I think. I can't honestly don't remember where he finished. Anyway, on to RB, where I have chosen Liam Lawson. I think Liam's going to have a better race, and he will finish ahead of Arvid. My brother agrees and has also gone for Liam Lawson. I think it's not a far shout. Obviously, Hadjar did do pretty well last year as a rookie until the formation lap, so maybe Arvid could do it again. Could do that similarly. Does the RNG think so? Yes, it does, and has chosen Arvid for the RB head-to-head. On to Aston. Obviously, if they finish, that is. My brother has chosen Fernando Alonso. Reasonable shout. Alonso's probably going to get the best out of the car if anyone could, if either of them can actually finish. The weighted random number has also gone for Fernando Alonso, giving Alonso a 59.5% chance. And I have also gone Fernando Alonso. Common theme to see a triple Alonso at Aston. Nice to know that my changes and updates to the RNG has not changed that. On to Williams then, where the RNG has chosen Carlos Sainz, giving Carlos a 54.6% chance of beating Albon. I am of the opinion that he will, and have also gone for Carlos Sainz. Carlos typically, at least towards the middle of the season, was on a run of losing to Albon in qualifying, but then beating him in the race. Obviously, some exceptions were Azerbaijan and Qatar, where he just did both and beat him in both qualifying and the race. I don't think he'll do that. I think he'll lose out in qualifying and beat him in the race. My brother has not gone for Sainz and has chosen Alexander Albon. It'd be great to see Albon get a podium this year. Could have maybe got one at Imola, but unfortunate. Nice to see that he did. Obviously, congratulate Sainz and join the team for Sainz's podium in Baku. Speaking of Sainz, let's go to his old team, Ferrari, where I am going first, and I, of course, have chosen Charles Leclerc. I think Charles is going to have a good weekend. I can't fall back on the I can't fall on the excuse of Ferrari being bad, and so Lewis will probably be bad now. I am realizing that this might be a mistake. And Lewis could have a good shout at winning his 8th title. We'll just have to wait and see. The weighted random number agrees with me though, and has chosen Charles on a 64.9% chance of Charles beating Lewis. My brother agrees with the both of us and has also gone for Charles. I've just noticed that my OBS screen has a slightly better contrast than my program that I'm using to view this. I wonder if that's just laptop versus TV monitor. Anyway, that's not about predictions. What is about predictions is Red Bull, where the weighted random number goes first and has chosen Ida Kajar with a 41.9% chance of beating Max. Personally, I think this is a blunder. That's spoiling my prediction. Oh well. What does my brother think? He also thinks it's a blunder by choosing Max Verstappen. And as I inadvertently mentioned, I've also gone for Max. I do think Max. Unfortunately for Hadjar, I don't think he's going to break that second seat curse, and I do think he will still be. I do think that he will struggle, unfortunately, but that's just what I think. I really want Hadjar to do well, but that's just the way things go. Hopefully it goes well, but I don't know. We'll see. Speaking of second year drivers, Antonelli at Mercedes. Have any of us chosen him? My brother has not, and has chosen George Russell to win out at Mercedes. What have I done? I have also chosen George. I do think George will win out of the two of them um, if they are at the front. I do think George would be the best poised to take the points home for Mercedes. Nothing against Kimi, but it's his second season. Just look at Oscar in 2024. Will Kimi get his first win? Maybe. I do think it's a possibility, but anything could happen. Mercedes could be really bad. Don't think that's the case. And I do think that Kimi will get his first win this season. The weighted random number has chosen Kimi off the bat and has disrupted the Triple George at Mercedes with a surprisingly 58.1% chance. It has chosen Kimi on pure merit, not by a random. Well, it's all random, but it's not chosen. Never mind, I was looking at Red Bull. It gave Kimi a 48.4% chance, so less than unlikely, and it has still chosen him. Maybe he will get. Maybe the weighted random number thinks he'll get it. His first win this weekend. We'll have to wait and see. And last but not least, for the teammate head-to-heads, McLaren, where I have gone for Oscar Piastri. Like I said, I think Oscar's going to make a step up, and I think he will start the season with a win over Norris and beat him in both quali and the race. My brother shares the same opinion and thinks Oscar will beat Lando. The weighted random number has chosen Lando with a 57.2% chance, a little less than in quali. The Ferrari prediction was still the highest percentage chance, with Charles on 65.9. That's insane. I would have thought it'd be a bit closer, but Lewis must have had a worse time than I remember at the end of last season. So we can move on to the final predictions of the day. Which is the podium for the race. I was just checking the weighted random numbers for the top three. Where we will begin with my brother's top three, who has chosen a Max Verstappen. Max will come from outside the top three to finish on the podium, he thinks. The weighted random number has chosen for P3 Lando Norris, thinking he will drop down a position from P2, if I remember that correctly. Yes, I did. I have chosen for P3 Lewis Hamilton. I think that Ferrari will still have a good enough car that on the start they will make up a couple positions, but it will be nothing more than that. I don't think they will be going from 5th to 1st. I think it's going to be a stretch if they make it from 4th to 1st, but we'll see. I love it if they could make it from 20th to 1st, but I really don't think it's going to be that good anymore. I do think the teams have obviously found something, because obviously it's been about 2 weeks. If they haven't found something, then I'd be questioning whether they are proper Formula One teams with professional engineers in the background. So we then move on to P2. I did not say what it gave Lando. 8.4% chance it gave Lando of taking the win, giving him the 3rd highest percentage. Insane. For P2, it chose Max Verstappen. It gave Max a 56.6% chance of winning the Australian Grand Prix. And yet it is still not chosen him and given Max P2 for the Australian Grand Prix. I have chosen Oscar Piastri. Obviously, I think Oscar will do good this weekend, but he won't quite get his first home win just yet. My brother has chosen George Russell for P2. Thinks that George will stay P2 for the whole race, as I do for Oscar. Let's see. As we move on to P1 for the Aussie GP. What have I gone for? Surely it's predictable at this point. Charles Leclerc. We're winning it all. We're starting out with a bang with a P1 for Charles and a double podium for Ferrari. Because of course we are. Let's move on before I change my mind. Weighted random number has chosen Oscar Piastri for the win at his home Grand Prix with a percentage chance of 21.7. The second highest out of the list, the 4th highest, was a 3.1% chance for Charles. Fun. I don't know why it's given Max such a high percentage. It was higher, but then I changed the weightings and it's still given him a 50% chance, which to me is insane. But it does what it does. My brother for P1 has chosen Oscar Piastri. He thinks Oscar will convert pole to win for the Aussie GP. So there you have it. Last but not least, the one random prediction. Attendance is the one random prediction for this weekend. It was about 419,000 in 2022, and then it increased to about 430,000 and in 23, and then it was about 450,000 in 24, and 465,000 in 25. For this year, I have chosen 475,650. Reasonable, about 10,000 more people. My brother has gone insane, going with 496,721, going an extra 30,000 people. I don't think he researched that, to be honest. And the AI, damn it, almost got away with this whole episode without saying it. It's because I didn't change the name in the spreadsheet. The weighted random number, although for this one it is literally just a random number, has chosen 436,506. I gave it a range of 419,000 to 480,000. Probably should have given it a little bit higher of a range, just so that it was more likely to predict an increase in fans, but Yeah. Fun fact, I did originally roll it so that it would be retirement. However, we had retirement first time last season, and also I am kind of worried in the sense that uh, I have no idea how many people are going to retire. Also, I didn't want to deal with the fact that Aston might even be a DNS instead of a DNF, so I didn't want to deal with that fact. But there you have it. Predictions for the Aussie GP of 2026. Will any of us be right? I will, of course, because Ferrari are winning it all. We'll end on that note there, because otherwise I'm going to change my mind. Thank you for watching, and check back. Good point. I was going to make a video about preseason testing. I didn't. I didn't have time. I am going to try and make a video about practice after FP2 to release in between FP2 and FP3, and then do the same for quali and the race, just the same time, Saturday, Sunday. Whether I'll be able to, just depends on time. Hopefully I can, but I will try making sure that whatever video it is, it goes up before the next session. Obviously, P2 to P3 and quali to race, not P1 to P2 and P3 to quali. But yeah, have a good weekend. Enjoy the Ferrari win. I know I will. And I will catch you whenever you decide to watch one of my videos again. Bye.